Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a special edition episode of the Discipline Therapy Podcast. I'm your host, DL Discipline, and today, like I said, is a special edition episode returning guest. Do you want to state your name and remain anonymous?
Oh, no, it's Jason.
All right, Jason. So, just following up with you, how's things been? The lifestyle.
No, things are good.
Okay, so are you still engaging in the lifestyle or
Taking a step back, just for right now. I'm still studying, but as far as practicing and doing things, no, right now.
okay, so you're like focused on you?
Yeah,
With that said, do you still have a sub in your life?
I do not.
So why is that?
Well, we both kind of realized we needed to kind of fix ourselves first. She was going through some stuff. I'm going through, as life, we all go through things. So it's kind of a mutual thing that we just decided to take a step away. Um, Once we fix whatever we have going on, if we decide to come back, we will. If it doesn't, then it's okay.
Okay. Now, while you were engaging in this life, was this something that you were looking to engage in as a full-time practitioner, participant, or part-time?
Full time.
Full-time. Okay, so while you were engaging in this full-time and you had a sub from the last meeting that we had, some rules you had I can remember. One of the rules you had were you wanted like a daily you wanted her to send like daily photos.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, while you were together, if she posted those pictures online and didn't send them to you, would that be a violation?
Yes. And the funny thing is she's not a big online person anyway, so that's kind of a good thing.
Okay.
But I'm supposed to see this first, because the pictures she sent me weren't like they weren't revealing. It wasn't like anything of that nature.
Okay.
But it's still I'm first before anybody gets to see it.
Yeah, most submissive women aren't out there like that. They're
Yeah.
not they're actually more shy actually to put themselves out there. Especially revealing. Now, for the time that you were in the lifestyle, let's say cuz you collected a lot of information, right?
Right. Yeah.
So you know the do's and the don'ts, you know the general like rules or way you could live this lifestyle. Everybody lives it differently, part-time, full-time, but you know the general way to live this.
Yeah.
Okay. So while you were in the lifestyle, what type of advice would you give young men who are interested in it?
Um, Ask questions. That's the best thing I would tell someone. Ask questions. If you don't know or you and ask multiple people because like you said, different people do different things. Get
Mm,
a broad perspective from things. Because yeah, you can learn from just, one person and that's great. But for me, I wanted to learn from multiple different people because, some have more experience than others. Some see things differently. So
mm.
definitely ask questions and try to get yourself on as much good material that you can. Yes, there is bad stuff out there that will tell you, the wrong stuff. Find good stuff. That's why you need to ask questions like, "Hey, when you learn, what did you, how did you learn this?" Or who taught you this? Don't use movies. I don't care what movie it is as a guide. Definitely reading, listening to people.
So, do you find the difficult time like are you first of all, let me ask you this because I don't want to assume. Are you while you're, focused on yourself or whatever, are you meeting people? Are you going out to events, talking to different women?
No, right
Okay.
now, no.
Okay. while you were, because obviously you had a sub, so you either found her or she found you. While you were, did you have a hard time finding traditional women?
Oh, hell yeah.
Because I just want to make it perfectly clear for the audience, like we know, but for the audience, submission is a traditional thing. It's like gender roles. So, they're synonymous, traditional women, submissive women. So you said you had a difficult time finding those traditional women.
Yes.
Do you think women lie on the application to get to you or what you're willing to provide?
Oh, yeah.
Give
Oh,
me
wholehearted.
Go ahead.
Um, I think I think I shouldn't say I think I honestly feel they hear things and that more intrigues them than anything. So I think it's more of the sex aspect of it that they're more intrigued with. And then I think once they realize what it really takes, then that's when you start to see some of those signs of, oh wait, this isn't what I signed up for. This isn't. It's like, well, this is what it is.
Mhm. Well, a lot of women are uneducated about this lifestyle.
Yeah. So no, I definitely feel they're like, oh yeah, I'm into that. I'm into that. Until then, when it comes time to do it, then it turns into something.
Hmm. What is your subjective definition of what a dom is?
It is literally it's a protector, a provider, somebody who teaches. It's kind of a mix of being a teacher, a father, of kind of mix of everything. Like you have to be everything, and you have to have your stuff together.
Mm,
Like you have to be a leader.
mm. So based,
And go ahead.
no, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you have to be a leader. Your little one has to see you lead in almost every aspect of your life.
Okay.
And you have to, you have to dominate things. You have to be, I mean, yeah, you have to be the best at everything that you do, but you have to, and even if you're not as the best in things, you still have to at least you have that confidence in yourself to do it.
Mm, okay. Based off your definition, do you believe a dominant can be a cuckold? Do you know what that is?
Oh yeah, I know what that is. And no,
Why not?
to me, a cuckold is almost like another term for submissive to me
Mm,
because it's literally in what it is. It's your woman's kind of running you.
oh,
Like,
oh,
yeah, you're aware of what's going on and you're okay with that. But just for me, I couldn't do that. Like, that's not gonna fly.
okay.
So while yes, you may and you could be the probably most dominant person at work, but you have to be dominant, and I feel in all aspects of your life, inside, outside the bedroom, at work, with everything.
Okay.
So when the moment you're being a cuckold, you lose your dominance, in my
Mm,
opinion, and
I
just in my humble opinion. Yeah,
I like the way you put that. I remember bringing you back on the show. We had our own discipline therapy talk where we dissected the movie of 50 Shades of Grey, right? We had our own personal perspectives. Then I brought you on the podcast. It was episode 76, Substandards. In that episode, you said that you had a certain rule about a sub, um, you wanted daily photos.
correct. Yeah.
Okay. With that said, would you also think a cuckold is someone who, well, like let's say a dom, right? Who would allow his woman to objectify herself online where like a lot of people could see, thousands or millions of people could see as well. Would that be like a cuckold also, in your opinion?
Yes,
Why do you
because for me, yeah, because when whether you're my girlfriend, my sub, my wife, I don't want to share you
Mm,
unless like we have some sort of like, arrangement of things of that nature where it's like you have a girl, more in depth than that. But you're mine. Like, and I also feel that, and also in that vice versa, I'm yours too. I'm not going to put myself out there because you have to lead by the example. No,
mm,
I don't want you putting, you twerking and doing videos and posting naked pictures of yourself. No more would you want that for me to do that too.
mm,
So I feel, yes, even in the cuckold situation, and especially if it's defined as that, it's one thing to have, to be poly.
mhm.
Cool, that's different.
I was just about to say that. But
Yeah.
even poly is not that because
Right. Yeah.
like people get that misconstrued with swingers. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like where he or she just fucking everybody. He's entertaining 100 women, which is not polyamorous at all or polyamory. You know, you might have two subs where you're building an emotional attachment with them both. You're giving
Right.
equally, you're providing equally. That anybody else that wants to get in the family, let's just say that
Yeah.
structure or dynamic, you need to get to know them as well.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like because there's privileges here.
Yeah.
So with the cuckold term, and I just want to recap for people because I always say this and I always explain it. We know what it is, but we're on camera and audio. We have people listening. If people don't know what a cuckold is, it is a male because they have women too. Like they call them cook queens,
Yeah.
cook queens, like women that like watching it or hearing about it. It turns them on. If it's men who, and he could be a married man, his wife engages with other males, he knows about it, he likes to hear about it, he might like to watch it. So that's what a cuckold is. It's a term for male and for the audience. So in your opinion, most doms exhibit universal behaviors.
Yes.
So if a woman wants a high status man, which she might think is a dominant, right?
Hmm.
Because he could provide everything, be everything, whatever for her, right? So she, in
Yeah.
her mind, is like, he's like high status, let's just say high caliber, high vibrational, high quality. If this guy is this way, why would he want to share his woman? For example, male friends. Like, is it common for a dom and a sub, right? She may not be sexually engaging with them. She might just be sexually monogamous with her dom. However, she has male friends. Could that be considered like mediocre or borderline cuckold too?
It for me depends on the friendship. Like what's in the sense of how long they've known them and things like that. Because obviously you're going to talk to your sub and like, so who's this person and kind of get to know that. Now, if they've been around a while, then it's one thing. But if they're like some brand new, then there's something else going on in that.
Mm,
But no, I wouldn't consider that in that type of sense if it's just a basic friendship, a cuckold.
mm,
But I
okay,
would definitely be checking, the level of friendship that they do have.
okay.
Like, like, hey, things like that. Because
Do you believe a
I have a,
woman? Sorry,
go ahead.
no, finish.
Because I have female friends.
Okay,
And I've had
why?
female friends.
Why?
I did because for me, I didn't trust a lot of guys.
Okay.
Um, a lot of shit back when I was younger happened. So like I had this like mentality of I didn't trust a lot of my guy friends.
Mm,
And funny thing is, I know a lot of people, and there's female friends that I had that I would never in life that we and her never thought about it, wouldn't want to do it.
what about the others?
But then I've also, like I was gonna say, on the flip side, I've had friends that we have, and we just like, oh, okay, we did it. That was it. more of an intriguing thing, and then there's friends that have turned into relationships. So
So they're not
it
friends then.
that are not friends at that point. But I mean, but I've gone through all three types of things where there's friends I would never look at them like that. Friends we have, and then we kind of realize, ew, that's gross. And then there's ones that started as a friendship, turned into something. And the funny thing is, the ones that I would say are like the best people I've had in my life are the ones I've never done anything with, and the ones that it started out as a friendship and then turned into something more.
Do you believe um like what do you do with these female friends? Like talk about your feelings?
Oh hell no, we ain't getting all that. But don't need to know about my feelings. I don't share that with people.
Because
Um,
because eventually, like you just said, it could turn into something unless it's like you're not sexually aroused by them. You're not sexually attracted to them. Then they could be friends. Then you
yeah.
could be
Well,
friends with
for
them.
me, I don't. Yeah, I don't. We don't sit. For me, my conversations aren't about my feelings, but just about every interests and things like that.
Mhm.
Like, I'm building like for me, I'm trying to build a foundation of getting to know people and how they think and what I think.
Okay. So they're
Do I
acquaintances then. They're not friends.
right?
Okay. I mean that
But as far
makes
as yeah,
go ahead.
but as far as when I share my feelings, I've as I've gotten older, I realize you keep those really guarded, especially because you've seen, we've all gone through that episode where you went and opened up to a girl, you have that first argument, and what is she saying to you? She's throwing everything that you've ever opened up to her about.
Well, if you know this, then why would you like be with female friends? Here
Well,
here
this I'm talking about girlfriends, not female friends that. Oh, you caught me on that one. Now
here
that I think about what you just said, yeah,
here's the thing. Here's the thing. Friends, in my opinion, you're vulnerable with because they're friends. So why have those friends around if you can't be vulnerable with them? That means it's one or two things. You're getting something out of that, or you find some type of arousal from there where you feel like, yo, this could eventually turn into something down the line. Because I always teach men, don't be friends with women unless you're getting something from them. You
that
see,
makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, no, you're right. I get that. Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? Like, do what you want to do, but I'm just telling you, like, when you look at it on a different spectrum, on both
right.
sides of the globe, like it makes sense. And especially being that you're a dominant, if your female friends know that about you, it's like it changes the dynamic for them because eventually one day they might say, they might get to that age, you know what? I've been wanting to try this. And then they come
Right.
to you and now they're crossing those boundaries and now y'all probably won't be friends anymore. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of manipulation almost. I'm not saying you're
Yeah.
doing that. Maybe it's
No.
subconscious for you, but it's kind of manipulation on both parts. Like if you have a sub and you allow her to like have an array of male friends. I'm not talking about that one non-heterosexual, that one gay friend, or that one
Yeah.
high school, middle school friend that she had where it's like family because it's not friend now, it's family.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about she's accumulating like Pokemon,
Oh, yeah.
collecting an array of male friends because she's like, or he's like, I want to connect with everybody and know everybody. Like, I'm a spiritual individual, so I believe like if your energy is sacred, um, you should protect that. As far as your children go, would you teach them about this?
No. And that's
Oh,
only because I want them to discover that kind of stuff on their own, kind of like I did.
okay. Do you have you ever dealt with a sub with a high sex drive?
Mine did, yeah.
Do you believe a man who is 50-50, going 50-50 with a woman should still be submissive to him? Or is that crazy?
I think she still should be.
Okay. And that could be subjective. It doesn't have to be like bills.
Yeah,
or whatever it is, because some people just take that concept as bills.
yeah.
Um,
No, I still think you should be.
okay. Well, do you have any final thoughts or anything you wanna say? You wanna ask me anything?
Oh, yeah, dude, how have you been, man? I've been keeping up with you. See you doing things.
Yeah, I'm a life coach now. I have a clothing line coming out, top of 2023, new season 10 for the podcast also coming out. Um, audiobooks, and a lot other things coming that I can't talk about.
Okay.
Um, but I'm still engaging in the life, man. 2023 is gonna be 15 years.
Okay.
So I used to have two subs. One was out of state, so now I have one.
Okay.
And it's because like for me personally, I disconnected. Like she still wants to be with me, but I'm not gonna sacrifice my dreams, my goals, where I
Right.
want to be, pertaining to that. She's going through some stuff with family, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to say, hey, let's bring everything here, let's move in or whatever. And it's like, well, this person got to come with me, and this person, and my mom, and I'm like, what? Like, I'm not building a relationship with them. Like, I don't even know them.
Yeah.
I got to know them first before they getting over here. So that was one of the reasons. And then there's other things too. Obviously the long distance is hard.
Yeah.
So right now I have one. But I still keep it honest. I'm still polyamorous.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what's going on with me now. But do you have any questions pertaining to this lifestyle that you want to engage, like when you get your shit together, engage with women that you want to know about, different submissives? I know you bought the first book, The Seduction of Discipline.
Yeah. Right now, with with the whole plan right now, and honestly, is I'm gonna like right after my birthday, which is coming up. Like, gonna have my birthday party, go
What are you
all
gonna be,
out.
40?
Yeah, I turned 40, so that big one.
Mm,
I'm literally gonna go, like, on this, like, 6-month just sabbatical, just away from just literally damn near everything that I can possibly get away from, and just really refocus, re-energize myself in just everything.
that's what's up.
So, I've been telling people, like, I'm like, "Yo, I'm gonna be, like, off social media, like, I ain't going out, like, you really wanna get a hold of me, here's my number."
Yeah,
Like, that's
yeah.
about it,
They,
and
yeah, man, keep doing it, man. That's the only way you're gonna heal. That's the only way you're gonna find yourself. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like I was doing that at an early age. I'm 36, but when I was 24, I did all that. Like I took a
right,
year
yeah,
and a half off from dating, everything, social media. I think back then they had like MySpace.
you're
I
right,
was like
yeah,
on MySpace. Like I don't even know like Instagram nowadays and stuff. Like things are so much different now compared to my era.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel and, like, a lot of some of my friends are like, "Why would you do that? Why?" And that tells me who I don't want in my life, because I've had friends who are like, "Well, why would you do that?" But I've also had friends who don't ask why. They're literally like, "Alright, if that's what you need, I got you. You know, I'm always here. I'll
Yeah,
hit you up."
yeah. And you know
Like,
what? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
so it's like one of those things where I put it out there and I'm saying, "Okay, well, when I get done, you
Mm,
know, who's really down?" Because that's what I want. Like, I want small circle, I want realness, I wanna be able to I want that.
yeah. And you
'Cause
could always reach out to me. You know what I'm
oh, yeah.
saying? Like any questions pertaining to this lifestyle. You met a woman who you're vetting, and you say, "Hey, I feel like it's gonna go somewhere. I told about my lifestyle. She's down." Any questions, man? Pick my brain.
Oh, I definitely know that. And
Yeah,
because, like, part of the whole in the 6 month is kind of especially when it comes to lifestyle, is really taking a step and really I feel in the year that I've learned yes, I've learned a lot, but I think I learned it in bunches instead of and learned, like, the general aspects and, "Okay, this is makes sense to me." But as I've gone on this year and I've learned more and seen more, it's like, "Well, whoa." Like there's a lot of things that like intrigue me. So it's like let's take a step back. Let's go back to square one and really learn the lifestyle, not just, on the surface,
Mm-hmm.
but really in depth spiritually and all that, and kind of really get into it to be that better dom and to really ask people like you and people who I've kind of met through it, like, hey, this intrigues me. What is your thoughts and things like that?
Mm-hmm. And
As
the
I've Yeah, because right now I'm not I don't I know enough to where I'm comfortable, but I know I can definitely learn more.
mm-hmm. And just to leave you with this, to know you don't like something, you have to engage in it.
Right, yeah.
That's the only thing. You could do as much research as possible. You could read
Yeah,
books, you could read my books, you could listen to me all day, podcasts or whatever it is. You have to engage in it to know what you like and what you don't like.
right,
So
yeah,
most of the stuff you probably didn't engage in or didn't even get a splash or a taste of it yet. You have to
yeah,
try it so you could be like, "Oh, I don't like it."
yeah.
That's what it has
Because
to be.
because you can see pictures and videos of things all day. "Oh, that's intriguing. Oh, I would like to do that." And then once you do it, "Oh, hell no."
Yeah. All right,
So,
man.
no, yeah, I'm definitely doing that, but yeah, no, thanks.
Thanks for coming on, man. And I'm gonna keep up with you, man. We follow each other.
Oh,
So
yeah.
reach out to me. Anything you need, like questions, answers, stuff about the lifestyle, my experiences. Because all our experiences are different. All right. So thank you.
Oh, no problem. Most definitely.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I have some stuff to say before we cut. Um So I'm going to explain what the general term dominant is. A dominant in the BDSM lifestyle, a dominant also who doesn't engage in the BDSM lifestyle, a master in the BDSM lifestyle. Their role is to lead, to guide, to protect, to enforce, to decide. But most importantly, their role is to hold that space of trust and exercise control and responsibility. Now, these characteristics, these traits that a dominant possesses is old school. I will reiterate, it's old school. A lot of the stuff I'm talking about, modern people are like, what is going on? It's old school. It's traditional. So if you are not traditional, if you don't have an old school mindset, this is triggers for you. The term is triggers for you. Well, if you're a female, it might not be a trigger pertaining to the sexual aspect, but living it is a trigger for you because trigger words are going to be like controlling, misogynistic, possession, all these things are triggered because you're unhealed or you're not used to that or engaging in that. But meanwhile, you might really be engaging in BDSM and you don't know about it. You don't know that you're doing it. It could be a subconscious thing. It could be circumstantial. It could be bedroom. It could be everything. Because if you're not dominating in everything, if it's not a trigger in you in everything, you are submissive. It might just be a specific environment, bedroom. It might be when you're trying to figure out something to where to go eat. You allow him to lead. All these things, and he doesn't need money and status and all these things to do this. It's just female nature, female, DNA. You know what I'm saying? When they are on a path, or when it pertains to survival, we as men and women revert back to our DNA. This is something we cannot fight when it pertains to biology and science. We can't debate it. We can't fight it. We could try to fight our core energy as much as possible, but these triggers will get us back into our roles no matter what. As a submissive, her desire is to consensually agree to relinquish control, surrender and submit to the direction, the leadership, the guidance of the dominant. Now, Most women today aren't submissive, but they will lie and say they are because now it's becoming a popular thing, dominance and submission. But we rarely hear about dominance. We rarely hear about men holding themselves accountable. We rarely hear about men providing and protecting. We hear about women saying submissive because women always want validation from men. Women always want to seem agreeable creatures and nice, and we don't want to go against the grain, and we don't want to seem like we're ugly, hard to deal with, whatever, manly, and all that stuff. So they'll say, yeah, I can be submissive. They'll say those things. But the thing is, these are modern women talking, and modern women's submission comes with conditions, and it's not even full surrender. It is like temporary. And the moment it's like, oh, we get an argument or whatever, they revert back to what they know. So they're not. And this comes down to not having therapy. This comes down to perhaps father figures not being in their lives. This comes down to not seeing their father and their mother engaging. This comes down to childhood traumas, sexual traumas. We can name all of that stuff. Drugs, perhaps. These women are getting messed up. These men are getting messed up. They're allowing these things to control their life. So, surrender requires trust and vulnerability. And vulnerability is hard for men and women today, especially due to so much things going on, especially social media. That's the juggernaut for a lot of this unhealed, crazy activity. Um, you need to pick and choose what you're following, who you're following, what you're engaging in, and why you're using social media. Because you could use it in a positive way. You could flip that like an alchemist. You could flip that. Anything you touch is gold in love. You could flip that and turn that negativity into something positive where you can empower people, whatever, serve people, or whatever it is you need to do. Trusting the dominant and setting clear agreements around the scene, like consent, boundaries, limits, safe words, are extremely important. So when you get with each other, communication is paramount. I said in episode 96, go back. In order for a relationship to thrive, it needs nourishment. Just like a plant needs oxygen, sunlight, water. A relationship needs these key components like honesty, communication, acceptance, understanding, um, and all those other things. But that is the general thing for both parties. And then we have our needs. Episode 98, her need and his need. We have our needs. As a man, my needs. As a woman, her needs. And to fulfill those. So now, although the dominant partner has, deemed the power in the relationship, the submissive can choose to end the scene or relationship at any point by using their safe word, tapping out, submission, like a UFC move, tapping out. Um, the dynamic of control is only in the dominant's hands until the context of the scene of the relationship ends. Um, either one chooses to end. So he could choose to end. He's like, okay, she's asking for rough, but I feel like her body can't take it because I'm observant. I have that eye discipline that I should always be aware of what everything is going on. She could be enjoying sex right now, but my eyes can't be shut. Um, and losing control because I'm driving the car. She could sleep. I said this in BDSM 101, episode 12, but I need to drive the car and make sure I'm awake to make it to our destination. So as the leader, I always have to be the one that my peripherals, even when we go out, I have to be the one that's like watching things, looking out for us, protection, walking on the side of the traffic. You know what I'm saying? Always that's the number one instinct, especially as a Dom. So setting boundaries and limits are imperative, very clear boundaries, and this is before beginning the Dom sub role play. You know, a lot of this stuff I'm going to talk about in the workshop coming up too. 2023, I'm planning a workshop. The workshops are titled the Divine Disciplines Workshop. They're all going to be titled that, and every workshop is going to be a different title. So last workshop was the Forgotten Art of Dominance and Submission, September 24th, 2022. So 2023, the date will be the date and the month will be announced. This topic will be BDSM. So we'll let you know about that. You can purchase your tickets. It's definitely gonna be in Long Island this time because New York City parking is unbelievable. Not doing that. So, um, it's imperative for both Dom and Sub to sit down and go over boundaries and limits. Some people have a contract, some people don't. They have a verbal agreement. They have certain arrangements on what's off limits or whatever. Um, and that's what it is. SSC, that acronym, safe, sane, consensual. That's also in my first book, The Seduction of Discipline. You have to prioritize safety because that's important. The submissive safety, mental and emotional, and physical, is of high importance to the dominant, and or it should be. And there's different relationships pertaining to bondage, discipline, caregiving, punishment. But it's the responsibility of the dom to make it perfectly clear and to set a clear mindset. You know, and like I know for me, like I limit drugs and alcohol use during a scene because most women will do that. Like I said, a lot of women are into the men that they're with. They need to take psychedelic drugs. They need to smoke weed. They need to drink alcohol. And I said this in a TikTok video. A lot of them are smaller than us. Body density, um, our bones are larger. So women can get fucked up quicker than men when it pertains to drugs, alcohol, weed, whatever it is. They can't sustain that. Most of them. I don't want to say all of them. Some women are built like, you know, they built like bricks where they could, drink like a fucking sailor. You know what I'm saying? Like, God damn, you drinking Henny straight from the bottle? Holy shit. Do you shovel your own snow too? God damn. Some women are built like that, to each their own. Um, but me, I try to limit that as much as possible. Perhaps after we could do that, but not before a scene. I don't like to um get inebriated or anything of that nature. I don't want her to get inebriated, like and that's how you build that. If you can't turn her on by your presence, your voice, your gaze, your touch. This is the power of a divine masculine man. These are the powers of a band. These are the powers of a dom. If you can't turn her on that way, and she has to have these substances to be turned on by you, that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a woman who's on birth control. Like she's on birth control and she thinks like, oh my God, I want the guy to listen to my opinions and be so nice and the nice guy and care about me. And well, you should care about her. But listen to everything I say. When I tell him to do it and be so nice and speak to me nice. That makes me wet. But when they're off it, they're just like, yo, I'm with a wimp. Like, why is he such a yes man? Why is he doing that? That doesn't turn me on. Because while they're on the birth control, while they're on these substances, they believe, especially birth control, they believe that they're pregnant. So as a woman is pregnant, she's already going through all these emotions. So it's almost like these drugs are tricking you to thinking things. You know what I'm saying? Especially for the opposite sex. So as a dom, you have to be responsible. When you can see like, don't do scenes while you're tired, or whatever it is, or even the sub is. Make sure she's at a good state of mind. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes people could be engaging in that lifestyle to just be like, yo, fucking heal me. It is therapeutic, but they just like they're using that to heal them, but it's just gonna heal you temporarily, and then you're gonna go back to your old ways after the scene is done or whatever it is. It's not gonna heal you if you aren't coming in here healed, or at least trying to um heal before you get to that level. Bondage and discipline is an exchange of control. Dominance and submission are an exchange of authority, while sadism and masochism is an exchange of sensation. So those are the three types of dynamics, and then you have the three types of participates or practitioners. You got the dom, you got the sub, and then you have the switch. And the switch is someone that engages in both roles. And it could be a woman could be a switch where she's submissive in the bedroom, but outside she wants to go 50-50. She wants equality. She wants she wants to wear the pants in the relationship sometimes. She could be a boss in her day to day, like an alpha sub, and then she comes home and everything is submissive. We don't go 50-50 on anything. There's no equality on anything. I know he's higher than me and I like that. Possession, yo, he's territorial. I love that shit cuz I love that he says, yo, get over here. You mine. Get over here with your sexy ass. You mine. You belong to me. That turns her on or that turns them on. They love that. They love to be claimed. Women love ownership. So healed women will say I'm sorry, unhealed women will say differently, but like I said, that could be my opinion. Um so there's some questions that I asked him. Let me see. Dealing with a submissive with a high sex drive. Now, most likely this is going to happen. She's going to be multi-orgasmic. Takes the right partner. But all women have this in them, takes the right man to push that right button. Could be her mind, could be her soul, could be really inside it, right? He just knows how to use it. He's a fortunate man. He's a sex god or whatever. He knows how to use it. You know, um, so most of them, so women are multi-orgasmic, but these women are gonna be multi-orgasmic if they're with the right partner. They're also gonna want multiple rounds. So my advice would be this is consensual because some women are masochists in the bedroom. Um, beat her up in the bedroom, and I don't mean abuse. I don't mean physical. I don't mean punching her and stuff of that nature. But it could just be like it could be metaphorically like wear her out. As you wear her out, she's laying there lifeless. She might not want another round. You destroyed her. You know what I'm saying? You devoured her. And at that moment, she may not want another round. She may want another round, but she's satisfied in that sense. So, I mean, I would always recommend men to just warm up the engine if she has a high sex drive. Don't get right into penetration. Incorporate some foreplay. Get her warmed up while you're engaging in foreplay. Maybe eating it or blindfold, using a flogger, sensation play, impact play. It could be a little bit of a masochist. Um, you know, while you're engaging in those activities, she might orgasm there. So now it's like, all right, one down, maybe two more orgasms to go, or one down, maybe one more to go. And this is prior to penetration. So that would be my advice. Do I believe a man who is going 50-50 with a woman, um, should he ask for her submission? And is that crazy? Yeah, it's crazy. However, see, this is subjective because some people look at 50-50 as the bills like, oh, if he's paying half of the rent, like what is it? Everybody thinks of it this way, but a man who's going half can still be a provider. We live in a capitalistic world and people are so warped because they think like everybody could be a celebrity and everybody can make six figures and they're like, yo, let's really talk about people who ain't sold their souls for millions. Let's talk about people who really work hard. Let's talk about people who really make six figures, who are blue collar workers, white collar workers, pilots make six figures, a garbage man makes six figures. You know what I'm saying? So too many people just see social media and they're just like, all right, he's black too. He looks like a rapper. He should be able to do it. Like, no. And especially on the region, depending on the region. And I said this already. Go back to episode 51. Go back to episode 41. I've said this already. I've said stuff in 2020. I've said stuff in 2017. I've said stuff in 2014. Got 7 books. And I'm glad they're saying it now. Love it. But the thing is, like, those men can still be doing it. And then you have men who could be paying 100% of the bills, and that's all they're doing. That's why I don't believe it. That's one. Number two, when a woman is with a man, she should be submissive. Huh? Because why are you there? If you're there, then you want equality. You don't want him to be the man. Because the roles of men and women is submission and dominance, masculinity and femininity. We're born with both, but men should be high in their core energy, which is masculinity. Women should be high in their core energy, which is femininity. Now, if women are in their femininity and embracing their femininity, they are the imitation of a man. Same thing with a man. If a man is not high in his masculine, he's an imitation of a woman. We're not born to be in these. We're born with both, but we should be high in our core. If we are not, that comes from trauma. She probably got fucked over by a lot of guys. So now it's fuck dudes. It's I don't need a man. It's I could do everything myself. It's this and this and that. You're not going to get a provider that way because a provider wants you to sit back and let him do it. But you're not going to get a provider that way if you're like, I know everything. I could do everything. I'm this, I'm that. I don't need you. I want you. No, a provider wants you to need him. So ultimately, if you are going 100% on the bills, like let's say I pay the mortgage and everything, and I'm like, okay, I don't want you to work. And she's fighting me. She's like, oh, it's my identity. I need to work. I'm going to be bored in the house. Da-da-da. If I get pregnant, I could be a housewife temporarily, but I want to go. Okay. And there's some women who have told me that. But you ain't working like me. You ain't working like me. You work 2 days a week, 3 days a week. You ain't working like me. And with that money, you could pay cable or whatever it is. But I'll take care of the load because I don't believe as you have a woman or two women, they should have all the grunt work. That should be a man's job to have the grunt work because less stress for her, the better your relationship will be. You need to make sure that she is good so she could keep doing her role. Now, if she's doing that, that's 80-20, maybe 90-10%. You know what I'm saying? And I'm still providing all these other things. Now, let's just say I pay everything. She doesn't have to pay anything. And that's all I do. I'm this guy, has status, popular, whatever it is, good looking and all those things. I have a lot of options. My deals as entrepreneurship, I need to close deals in other places. So it can't just be New York or whatever it is where we reside. I may have to go to Miami. I may have to go to Dubai. I may have to close different deals, film deals, whatever it is. So I may not be there to sexually satisfy you, give you emotional stability, give you peace of mind. All I'm there for is to give you financial security. But a man is required to be more than that because the masculine has to provide confidence in the woman, emotional security, not just finances. I always say, if you just providing a check, you like, and you like, let's say you're a father and that's all you're doing. You're a glorified deadbeat dad. Let's say you're a husband or boyfriend and you're doing that. You're the same as a woman because that's what women do today. So we look at how men were back then and how they provided everything. They were handymen. They worked with their hands. They went to the gym. Their testosterone level was up. They were dominant. They were traditional. They were gentlemen. They protected. They didn't just provide. And when they provided, it wasn't just finances. So nowadays, men and women don't want to do shit. That's why I call them, that's another reason why I call them modern men and women. They don't want to do shit. They're lazy. He doesn't want to invest in her. She don't want to invest in him. Because it's like, yo, I did this shit already. I was in a 10-year relationship. Fuck that. I want everything I could want. No, sorry, men. Sorry, women. Y'all got to start all over. That's not how the universe works. I'm here to challenge a lot of people's ideologies. I don't just let them say stuff. I want to know why you're saying what you're saying. And I'm going to get to the core. Why do you think this way? Why do you behave this way? Why are you highly masculine? Why are you highly feminine? So ultimately, the woman should be submissive because she's going to be giving her all She's gonna be giving sex. She's gonna be giving her mind. All of those stuff. At the end of the day, we got an episode coming up next week, season 9 finale part 1. Women are not built to be all over the place. They want security, because when women seek men, they seek men for survival. As some men will look at women as short term or looks, women look for strong-minded, independent men, strong men, providers, protectors, because they seek men for survival. That's their instinct. It's just like the animal kingdom. That's what the lioness does. The most alpha lioness, she gravitates towards the most alpha dominant king, because she sees that she gonna get everything out of that. And when I have kids, my cub can have a good chance of survival. He won't get eaten by hyenas or whatever it is. So this is how human beings are, and they do it instinctively. They do it subconsciously as well. Especially women, when they choose their partner, or they accept the men that are with them. Women can attract males. She can attract males. Doesn't mean she can attract men. The feminine is built to attract. It doesn't mean she can attract men. She could have 5 to 10 guys coming to her a day, and they're not her type. And the guys that are really her type are walking her by because of how she's posting, whatever it is, who she's with, her group of friends. Men know within 5 minutes, maybe even less, how you are. That's why I always tell men, check women's social media. When you get with them, find out their social media, because women will always post when they feel like ain't nobody looking. And you're going to see their true colors that way. Check how they are. And a man could scroll and he could be like, yo, I could tell how this chick is within 5 minutes of looking at her page or less. Comments and all that stuff. Because men think differently from women. Women will be like, oh, don't judge me. Da-da-da-da. Project their feelings upon men. This and that. Build their own narratives and flip it to make it work in their favor, because they're doing it and they don't want to be viewed as a bad person. Like a woman that's saying, I don't see a problem with having a lot of male friends, whether I'm single or in a relationship. I want to build connections. You know what I'm saying? She don't see the problem in that. The man don't see the problem in that. That's why I was confronting him. I was challenging his ideologies to understand why he thought like that. They don't see a problem with that. And they'll try to flip it. Well, they can't, why can't men and women, the sex, and, why is it always going to be about that? There's some arousal there then. There has to be some arousal there. Why is that needed? If you have a man that's teaching you everything, that should be your friend. Why is that needed? If you have a woman that you're providing for, she should also be your friend. Why is that needed? You want to have friends to boost your esteem or something like that, to make you feel good about yourself? No, that's dangerous. Because not all those guys have positive intentions. Not all those guys have good intentions. They could be lying. They could be poly too and lying. Because a lot of men are probably in the closet, I believe. Now, I was going to do discipline therapy talk, but I was like, a lot of people really need to hear this. And since I'm putting the workshop out, so this is like practice and kind of like a preview. If we get together, most likely the woman is going to want to have a man. Because if she feels like she can't submit, then she has a girlfriend. And that's just the reality. You're like my girlfriend, you have a dick. Sometimes maybe we fuck once a month, once a week. Whatever, I'm just, I just need a man in my life, whatever, you're there. You're not really a man. She doesn't really have a man. She's in a relationship. She doesn't have a man. So ultimately, like, the woman has the bigger responsibility because she's the one that submits. And I believe even if that's a shit guy, you submit to him because you accepted him, you chose him. So a lot of women's kryptonite, and they could call them super women today if they want, and that's perfectly fine. But a lot of women's kryptonite is accountability. They don't hold other. No, let me stop and not generalize. Most women, because I know some women who do, but most women don't hold other women accountable. They'll say, yeah, girl code and power and all this stuff, women rights and da da da, independent. Let her do her thing, and yeah, we so great. And sometimes it could be fake. You know what I'm saying? They're social creatures, and that's great, but sometimes it could be fake. But they'll do that with each other. Men always hold men accountable. That's what we do. We hold men accountable. And we elevate based off the men and whatever it is. You see your father doing what it is, your father gonna hold you accountable. You see your son, that's your son, you're gonna hold him accountable if you active in his life. Men hold other men accountable. It's the women that don't hold other women accountable. But I say some women because there are those women who are in their divinity, the divine feminine women who hold other women accountable, because this is not just my opinion, this is a fact. The divine feminine is a goddess. The divine feminine is a queen. This isn't my opinion, this is a fact. So if the woman is in her divinity, she doesn't care about all that outside mess. Remember episode 36. Give her what she's afraid to ask for. Go back. Season 4. Season 4. Queens observe while they allow the peasants to entertain. That's a fact. Kings don't chase pussy. They chase royalty and loyalty and faithfulness. Ride or die. That's what gets the woman the ring. So ultimately, like, if you see that man and you see everything you want in him, you got to adjust him because you're trying to attract him. And I said this in my TikTok video. If you want a certain caliber of a man, you have to attract him. You have to know what he likes, and you got to be willing to mold to his teachings and his understanding. And you're molding yourself as creating his identity. Fuck them dudes that you used to do that for. Those were practice. Gods and the goddesses are telling you had to go through those bumps in the road to get to the God. To get to the God. That's why. So now the moment you're not doing that, you kind of shoot yourself in the foot. You lose out on a connection. And I see this happen to a lot of women because they start generalizing men. They put men in the same bubble. Oh, there's a hierarchy here. There's tiers. Just like there's tiers for women. I always tell men, don't treat every woman like a queen because not every woman is one. Even though we were told, house, class, school, music, that they are, but they aren't. So you got to treat women accordingly. So ultimately, it's like providing, protect, submission, nurturing, giving. That's an old school thing. That's a traditional thing. And I've said these in my TikTok videos. The Discipline Therapy Pod 7. Check it out. Check them out. I've said this already. These are old school values, and it's going to be very, very difficult for you to find it in modern society because they're trying to destroy that. They're trying to eradicate that. You have to find specific people and you have to accept specific people. If you're a man, you have to find specific women. If you're a woman, you have to accept or attract specific men. So you got to be willing to turn down those guys that you look like beta male, simp manginas or whatever. And you know that they are. Can't come around as male friends and all that stuff because you know that they are. You're leading them on and shit like that. You know that they are. You know, wasting your time or whatever it is. You have to let them go. You can't be like, oh man, I'm going to just give I'm going to give the first man that's going to give me attention. I'm just going to give it up to him. I'm just going to submit. And then you complain men ain't shit. So if you're attracting ain't shit men, you probably ain't shit, bitch. And if you're a man attracting ain't shit bitches, you probably ain't shit male, because you ain't a man. This is something that you have to look internally, like men dominate, women submit, men decide, women accept. Men are in control of commitment and relationships, and women are in control of sex and fertility and abortion and stuff of that nature, their body choice. And so if they're in control of those things, you know what I'm saying? They bring order, they bring virtue to the dynamic. You know what I'm saying? They bring righteousness. You know, I've said this in a discipline therapy talk episode before it was visual on Patreon. I said this in audio. When it pertains to the BDSM dynamic, this conversation is never thing. Yo, I didn't hear about this stuff about provide and protect since the pandemic because a lot of people are traumatic. They're still trying to recover from that. They're still trying to recover from that. So that's why a lot of people are talking about money today. A lot of people are talking about providing and shit like that. But when you guys were playing back then, you wasn't even having this conversation. And a lot of people will see that within you. A man meeting you, oh shit, you're 40 now, you're 45, and you're looking for a husband. What the fuck you was doing back then? She's speechless. Oh, so you're, this and that, and, you don't got your shit together as a man, but you're trying to have women be submissive and stuff like that. What about holding yourself accountable? That's crazy. Like, you're not even dominant. What? Are you a king? Are you a god? you just want to have your cake and eat it too. No responsibility, right? Right? The woman, you just don't want any responsibility, right? That's what it comes down to. So modern people, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Not trying to sound negative, but a lot of y'all ain't gonna get what you want because y'all don't want to change. And that's the thing about coaching. I always say there ain't no such thing as a bad client. Whether they're fucked up, whatever it is, on the path of healing, healed, and they need guidance and direction and leadership and help them with their goals, there's no such thing. It's the coach. There's no such thing as a bad sub or wanting to be one. It's the dominant. Me personally, if I meet a woman that's unwilling to learn, just like in coaching, if I meet someone that's unwilling to take my guidance and help them get there, and they don't want to change, and I see that, I'll give them their money back and fire them as a client. I'll dismiss a sub. Go heal. Maybe it will happen for us in the future. I don't know. Maybe the door is closed permanently. Only the gods and the ancestors know. It's written in the stars. If we want what we want with the opposite sex, we have to be that. What the fuck do you bring to the table? You ain't the table. You ain't that. That don't make sense. Because then if you were the table, then what's on it? What's on it? So these questions are required to be had. And I've been talking about this since 2017 because it's important. I've always asked the sub, what are you willing to give? What are you willing to give? Do you want what a dominant is willing to provide or what I'm willing to provide? There's a difference. This is lust or love? This is lust or love? Are you here for the right reasons? Because you could be provided for in a really good way. You could have all your dreams come true, but are you here for the right reasons? The vetting process is imperative. What do you bring to the table? That's very important to ask. And men who ask women that question are men who are serious because they want to invest. This is a job interview, huh? Why you been to 15 jobs? That gives me anxiety because I'm thinking you ain't loyal. You're a cheater because that's probably backup plans. You don't have any type of accountability, responsibility. Why did you bounce around? The last 3 months you had 5 jobs? You ain't happy? When you get bored, you run? When it doesn't work in your favor and there's an argument, you run because that's what you're used to? Is that what it is? Why should I bring you to my company? Why should I pay you? Why should I pay you to come to my company? But you've been to 15, 20, 30. You see what I'm saying? You don't show me that you're responsible. Why would I invest in you? You see what I'm saying? So ultimately, men, I'm proud of y'all. Ask these questions because we was never taught to ask them. See, back in the days, like I said in my TikTok videos, they didn't need to ask these women these questions because they could differentiate the hoes from the good girls because every woman was doing the same thing. But the way the structure is implementation of feminism and stuff of that nature. And they feel like, yo, we can make taxes off 2 genders. We're going to force them to vote and we're going to force them to work. Now we can break up the home and we could take the man out of it. And if we're doing that back in the days, now when a man sees 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chicks posting their booty cheeks, twerking, deep V cleavage and all that stuff, talking provocative and all that, smoking weed on camera, doing all those things that aren't ladylike, They're like, God damn, there ain't no more good girls around. I don't want to provide. I don't want to hold doors. I don't want to do shit. I don't want to do that. See, gentlemen was always in men. Look at the back in the old school American gangsters still. They still practice chivalry. And I said this in episode 90. Is it fair to ask for a gentleman if you ain't a lady? Is it fair to ask for a lady if you ain't a gentleman? Season 8 finale. Go back. If we want change, we have to change. That's what Tupac said. We want to be valued. We want to be loved. All the people saying, oh, fuck love and whatever it is. We want those things. Back in the days, they didn't have to ask women these questions because they could differentiate. Now they have to ask these women these questions because they can't tell the difference. They can't tell the difference. And 90% of women, when you ask them what they bring to the table, they're speechless. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to say. They'll say other things to avoid the question. But these thought-provoking questions are very important to ask women because y'all are asking boring-ass questions on the first date. Y'all are asking boring-ass questions when you're interacting with women. Boring, not uninterested questions. Challenge them. Make them think. The dominant's job is to challenge the submissive. Push her to her limits. And it could be physically, it could be emotionally, it could be psychologically. Because you have to get out of your comfort zone to elevate. Diamonds are formed under pressure, they say. You have to get out of your comfort zone to elevate. Sometimes toxicity is a comfort zone. So we have to start unconditioning ourselves, and we have to be willing to do it because the only way the gods and the ancestors are going to reward you is if you have discipline and consistency. Those are the only two things. So, yes, the Dom has a big responsibility, but the sub has a responsibility as well. And if we want these unequal, but the irony is it's a match of a dynamic, we need to change within ourselves, and we have to be willing to accept and understand. If the dominant wants to lead, provide, and all that, then the feminine has to be receptive. The feminine has to be open. And honesty is important for relationships to grow and take it to the next level. So all these things are important and should be had. So as a dom, you have a big responsibility, like I said, and the sub has a big nurturing responsibility. And trust is very important. So as the dom, you need to create that safe space so she can be vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? Be vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? I'll call a woman out her name, like, yo, you doing some whole activities, you doing this, you doing that, you a hoe. But if I'm connecting with her, that's different. She's in a different realm now. She's with me. She's here. So now I have to find out why these things occurred, and then get to the core. And maybe, hey, it ain't for me, and I'm saying, you know what? I respect your honesty. This isn't gonna work, but keep doing your thing. Find what you'll find. I may not be for you, and you may not be for me. And it comes down to responsibility. But if the dom wants the sub to be able to be vulnerable, the dom has to be willing to be vulnerable. He got to set the tone. He has to be honest. He has to lead with conviction, and he has to dominate, and he has to be disciplined. He has to hold himself accountable, and he has to think he's higher, because if he thinks he's higher, then he can hold her accountable. A man who thinks he's equal to you is never going to hold you accountable. That's why those men really don't like those women, his women, posting booty cheeks and stuff like that, but he ain't going to say nothing to you because he looks at you as an equal, and vice versa. And he knows that she wears the pants in relationship. Shit, she might be pegging me. She might be sticking stuff up there. You know what I'm saying? She wears the pants, and I can't say anything. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to continue to keep reaping the superficiality benefits that she's providing me. Best looking chick in the world builds my self-esteem and confidence. And I want to continue to reap those benefits. and I want to avoid conflict as much as possible. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm scared. So as I'm scared of the woman, now I become the woman because I don't have balls. So ultimately, like, if you want to get to this level, you got to do the internal work. You got to be willing to do that. I'm on this level because I did the work. 14 years strong. 2023 is going to be 15 years strong. Proactively engaging in this lifestyle. Never took a break. So ultimately, like, you have to be willing to put in the work, and no matter what comes in your way to distract you and take you out of that character, and women coming and trying to change you, you are stubborn and you stay in your place and you know what you're doing. That's how the gods know this guy's the chosen one, because he ain't never switched up. This woman is the chosen one because she ain't never switched up. Men and women are only going to connect when they can find themselves. And if they find themselves, they're going to find God. And just vice versa. Because when they find God, they'll find themselves because they'll realize that God is within them. We are gods and goddesses with amnesia. It comes down to a big healing process and staying consistent and incorporating discipline in your life. By doing all those things, you could start to build a foundation. One of the things I loved about the anonymous caller in episode 98, her need, is she said, if I'm not healed, I can't be good in society. I cannot be a wife, a potential one. I cannot be a good wife. I cannot be a mother. I cannot be anything in society. So those things are very important. And I'm proud of Jason because he said he's working on himself before he could bring people in or start getting back into the life again. And more people need to do that and get to that level. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, sometimes they speak through me, and I promise you the season finale part 1 and 2 is going to be probably one of the most powerful you've ever heard, powerful you've ever seen. And I promise I'll be talking to your spirit, because you'll be saying to yourself, looking in the air, yo, that makes sense. Looking at the ceiling, that makes sense, because your subconscious is aware of it. You might not be conscious because you might not be in sync with your conscious and your subconscious. You don't even remember your dreams. But your conscious, your subconscious will be aware of it because I'll be talking to your spirit. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned into Discipline Therapy, the Discipline Therapy podcast. Peace.